Welcome back to another episode of You're Not Crazy, You're Exhausted. I'm Tiffany, and here today I'm going to be talking to you about GLP-1s. So this is not something I was planning on talking about today, but it's been coming up in the last few weeks with several of the people that I'm working with and have signed on to work with me to get help and support with their GLP-1 process. But I also have people who have super struggled taking these medications because they're either not losing weight, they're losing weight too rapidly, they're having horrible side effects that makes them get off of the medications. And so there's just some information that you need to know. The last person I talked with about these medications, I hadn't seen her for about 4 to 5 weeks, and she had lost 20 pounds. I saw her virtually, and I could tell just when she showed up on camera that there was a significant difference, to the point where she needs it to slow down. She's about to her goal already. And I have to say that this is not usually how it goes. Oftentimes people are struggling with their symptoms so much that their weight loss is very, very slow and sluggish, but they're not getting support and they're not getting help with their nutrition. They're going at this all willy-nilly. They're not actually getting supported along the way. And that's why I created the GLP-1 Fat Loss Success Blueprint, because it is that important. People cannot take these medications for just another quick fix or because they're desperate to lose the weight. They have to still dial in the nutrition, work on their lifestyle. All those things have to take place in order to optimize this tool, which is a weight loss tool, among other things. One of the problems I'm seeing is that with these medications, obviously, part of what they do is they reduce your appetite. They shut off the food noise that's in your brain. How can we mimic that without taking the medication? Or if you're not going to be taking it, or you are going to get off the medication, how do we mimic this just with our daily life? This is the kinds of things that we work on with our foundations, part of the GLP-1 Fat Loss Success Blueprint. You need to have this dialed in and get this going, whether you're on the medication or not. It is very, very important. But do you know how to do that? Do you know how to do that when you have certain medications that you're maybe already taking outside of the GLP-1? Maybe you have some kind of chronic health condition or some diagnoses. You have to understand what this means for you and how to deal with it. You need to have those foundations. Then we have to have a little bit better understanding of what a GLP-1 is and how they function for us for fat loss. And part of that functioning is making sure that we have a healthy gut. Most of us do not have a healthy gut. And then you add something, that's outside of yourself, something exogenously that affects how your gut functions even more. And if you never get that figured out, this might be complicated for you to get off of the medication. When you're inside the program, you get to learn about them and you get to know what to do before you start the GLP-1, during your taking of the GLP-1, and how you prepare for getting off of the GLP-1 and how you maintain. Because this should not be like any other quick fix where you lose a bunch of weight and then you haven't changed any of your habits or lifestyle things, and then you go back to normal and you gain all the way back. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. But the biggest thing I see with this is that people, because their appetite is so suppressed and eating actually doesn't feel good to them sometimes, they lose a lot of muscle. In fact, studies are showing that people are losing between 30 and 40% of their weight as skeletal muscle. And when that happens, guess what? You now have just downshifted, downregulated your metabolism. Now it's going to be harder to keep that weight off. You're going to have to eat a lot less calories. You're going to probably have to expend a lot more calories, a lot more energy, and it's going to be harder and harder to sustain it. But at the end of the day, you don't want to lose muscle for longevity. You need your muscle for your bone health, for your immune system, for your skin, hair, and nails. You need the muscle on your body to do the things we need to do in order to function, because you don't want to just live for a few more years. You want to live a long time and you want to live it well. It needs to be quality. And you're not going to do that when you lose muscle. And we talk about this all the time in my one-to-one sessions for these people taking these medications. And I know people are so desperate and frustrated and they just want to get some weight off. I understand. However, if you are just taking the medication and really not doing anything else, or you're left to your own devices and you don't know what the heck to do, you are going to be in a world of hurt down the road. So don't do that. I just plead with you. Please don't do that. We need to understand how we can prevent weight regain, especially that rebound, especially if you have lost muscle, if you've eaten such few calories that you can't possibly eat like that forever. We need to counterbalance that. We need to figure out what that is, and we can be strategic about it. We can look at your nutrient intake. We can look at what you do with regard to energy consumption in the form of calories. We can look at your activity, your resistance training. Those are the things that we need to do to optimize your journey on a GLP-1. If you are someone that this resonates for, and if you're contemplating GLP-1s, if you are already on them and really not liking your progress, now's the time to jump in and get a little extra support. And there's a couple different options. So you can do the self-guided journey of this, where you can just sign up and go through your process, go through all the learning modules and listen to them, fill out the worksheets, just take yourself on your own GLP-1 journey. If you're a good self-learner, self-starter, this would probably be the place for you. If you are someone that needs a little more hand-holding and actually maybe wants to get a prescription of the GLP-1, then I've got another option for you as well, where you get nurse practitioner prescriptions for GLP-1s from a reputable source, not these online places where we don't know where we're getting them. And then you're also getting time with me to dial in the specifics of your nutrients that are custom and personalized to you and your goals and your health conditions. This is very important if you're going to be jumping on this bandwagon of the GLP-1s. They can be a great, fabulous tool, but if you're using them as the one thing, you're probably not going to like the results. Just being honest, this is what I see most of the time. People are really not getting what they expected from these medications because they're not getting a lot of guidance most of the time. If this sounds like something that might interest you, I'll reach out with the options for you to jump right in. Like I said, self-guided, or if you need medications or if you want the support, then you can jump in that option. Reach out, share this with someone who you think would benefit from it. And this is important. This is not stuff to mess around with. This is just like any other medication. We need to be careful. There's some studies for specific things like diabetes, but there's not a lot of long-term studies for things. So we need to be mindful and methodical about it. But they're showing tons of great benefits outside of weight loss too. So let's see what we can do to capitalize on those things as well, along with your prescriber. Hope this helps. I just wanted to pop in here to tell you a little bit about this, but I'm super excited about it because I'm seeing so many people that are struggling on this, and I want to stop it. I want to make that stop and make your success as best as it can, best results while you're doing these medications or even contemplating them. You can even jump in if you're just trying to get prepared, thinking about whether or not you need to get them, because there are so many other tools that you can put on board that don't require an injection. At minimum, you get that stuff dialed in. And if you still want to get in there and lose a little bit more weight or reduce inflammation or have more balanced blood sugar, then you can entertain the idea of getting a prescription. But we got all kinds of tools to help you out. You just need the guidance that are specific to you, and I can help you with that. All right. Hope this has been helpful. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.